Going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Talking Buffalo, your weekday daily driver for Buffalo Sports Talk and more. My name is Patrick Moran. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, however you consume Talking Buffalo. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Big shout out to both our sponsors, Sunny Reds, 1841 Abbott Road, just on the way from Highmark Stadium. Going to be doing a season preview show there live Thursday, September 4th. Matt Perino and Jay Skursky are both going to join me for that. Got other shows coming up that week live too, so stay tuned. So shout out again. Sunny Rides, also Imperial Pizza, 1035 Abbott Road, home of the best lunch special anywhere in town. All right, folks, if you happen to be watching this live on the video side, it is Sunday night around 9 p.m., which means, as usual, I'm joined by my partner, Joe from Queens. What's going on, dude? Let me preface this, too, right away. For people who are going to start filing in, there might be some lag on the video side. I don't know. Joe says he sees lag. I don't see it, so hopefully it's not too bad for people who are watching this. Of course, you can always listen to the podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, available anytime. But let me know if you're watching this live. Leave a comment for us and let us know if what you're seeing, if there's lag, and if there is, where it's coming from. Anyway, all right, what's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm in the middle of a fantasy football draft that I had no idea was happening until like 3 hours ago. So I'm doing it on my phone right now. I don't know. I know you play fantasy football because you're in the Content Bro League that you guys all brag about.
It's a dynasty league, but yeah.
Yeah, congrats on the dynasty with the Content Bros. Do you like auction drafts, or do you like the other drafts? Like, what's it called? Like a snake draft, I think it's called. Which one do you prefer? Have you been in an auction draft before?
And you know what? It's been so long, I don't even remember. No, I haven't. Every draft I do is just a regular draft. What's up, Tooch, and a lot of the regulars here who are starting to file in. Like I said, if you notice some lag on the video side, let us know in the comments. I need to figure out for the future where the issue is coming from. So let us know if you see it. But anyway, to your point, what are you doing an auction draft right now?
Yeah, and I can't fucking stand it because I hate it. I don't like it. I went all in with and I hate talking about fantasy football because no one ever cares about your fantasy football teams, but I will here. I went in all in and blew my budget within like the first 3 rounds where I got Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase from the Bengals, and Bijan Robinson in Atlanta. So like I got all those guys, spent a ton, and then it's a bunch of other dudes and that I'm not too keen on because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't like. I like the old school ones. This other shit I'm not into. But
I like you. So you mentioned like fantasy football, whether it's auction or just a regular draft. Personally, I like the Dynasty League. We've been doing now for, I think, 4 or 5 years. And if you don't know this, or people who don't know it, you draft once. The first year, you and 10 guys, 12 guys, and women, whoever, how many teams you have a draft. And then that's your team every single year. Right. And you make trades and waivers. And then each year with the draft, you draft rookies. So you get a guy, and, you could have him for 7 years on your team. It's really cool, but it can be really difficult to battle back. You know what I mean? If your team sucks or you're trading your picks recklessly and you can't restock on rookies and things like that, it just feels more realistic to run the team. But anyway, to your point, nobody gives a shit. What kind of beer you got going there?
Yeah, I was going to tell you guys. It is from Maine. It's Russell Brothers Brewing Company. It is from when I went to Maine a few months ago. It is just an IPA. It's 8%. So that's all it has in here. It's homegrown. It's got a decent color. There you go for the video side people, and that's it. This is how I cope with having to talk about preseason mattering. I saw the rundown. This is what we're freaking talking about. Just please, Tooch, anyone that's in the chat, please remind me next year not to be on this podcast in August because I can't handle this preseason garbage.
Well, it's over. But it's over.
No, but now we're going to talk about it because your boy,
not much.
Eric Moulds made the team or something, or he's about to make the team, whoever number 80 is. Like, great. I'm super, super excited about this.
Shout out to some of the people on the live side who are filing in. Some of the regulars. Steve Noble says, grab a Bush Apple Light and enjoy a great show. JJ94 says, love the show. About to walk around Wegmans listening to the sweet sounds of Joe from Queens. All right, man. Don't inflate his head like that, man.
I don't have an ego unlike you, who's you're just you're absurd every day. Anyways.
Tooch said Bush what? Oh, Butch Roll. All
right. Butch Roll.
Yeah, he's going on that Legends cruise, by the way, if you want to go with the great Sal Capaccio and Del Reed and Thurman Thomas and Andre. And Don Beebe's going to be there next year. I won't be doing that. I'm afraid.
You're going, dude. You're going to find a way to. You're going to convince your wife. You're going to convince her.
She got seasick. We went on a cruise once. She was seasick for half of it. That's not going.
All right. Well, you bring your son Shane to rub elbows with the elites of Buffalo. You want to go? You don't even lie.
By the way, so you drinking? You back on your fancy beer shit? I was back on my Bush, straight up. No gimmicks, just straight up Bush Light bullshit. I went to Canandaigua on Saturday. First time I've been there in many years. About an hour and a half ride. And I mean, I wish it was for better circumstances. It was for like a celebration of life at a Moose Lodge. But they had Busch Light draft on tap. That's rare. You don't see Busch Light on tap often. So your boy was all over that shit, man. $3 pints. Woo! It's good shit, dude. I know you would like it too. If you,
well.
Let's all right. So there's a lot of shit going on right now. To your point, I do have a theory, or not a theory. We're gonna find out if the preseason means anything in the next 48 hours, and I'll get into that in a second as well. I also want to spend some time today. I've come up with, and I want to get your thoughts on each of these two, 4 major differences that I see right now with the Buffalo Bills this year from last year, like significant differences, not just little subtle ones. So I got 4 that I'm going to run past you. A couple other topics that I want to hit on. You got your Mount Flushmore. That's going to be back here this week for newbies. Instead of doing a Mount Rushmore with the best of everything, Joe likes to come up with the Mount Flushmore, which I got to get that graphic back here for the intro for that. But anyway, it's the worst of everything, week by week, a different topic. And then I got a new segment that we're going to debut on the show near the end tonight, and I might start doing this every day too. So we'll see how that goes. So a lot of shit to get to today. Let's start with some actual news. So some weird, surprising news. I don't know what you've been doing today on Sunday. I know you've heard about it because you had a couple jokes on the Twitter machine earlier. But
I try.
The Bills are signing Jordan Phillips again. This is going to be his fourth stint with the team. Brother Bill is rejoicing out there somewhere right now. Tom Pelissero from NFL Network reports that the Bills are going to sign him later this week. But here's the caveat. This is where it gets really interesting, Joe, because my first thought was, all right, I guess practice squad, another kind of mentor. You call him up, something happens, a little bit of depth. Well, here's the thing. Ryan Talbot reported earlier on Sunday evening, per a source, that Jordan Phillips is not getting signed to the practice squad. Jordan Phillips is getting signed to the active roster this week after cuts. That's interesting because, well, for a lot of reasons. First of all, dude hasn't had a training camp. I'm sure he's been staying in shape, but he's 32. He's going to be 33, and they're skipping the practice squad. He's going right to the active roster. And you got to assume Ed Oliver ain't going nowhere. TJ Sanders, Deion Walker ain't going nowhere. So there's your 3. That means to me, and Larry Ogunjobi's going to be suspended for the first 6 games. They're not keeping 6 defensive tackles, Joe, on this roster on the 53-man. I just do not see that happening. So is Dwayne Carter on the move? Is he going to get traded or cut? He's only in his 2nd year. He's only going in the year 2, and he's a 3rd-round pick from just a year ago. That was part of the Kansas City trade with the Worthy-Coleman thing. Or DeQuan Jones, who has been running with the number 1s literally every day at practice, every preseason game when the starters a little bit that they've played. He's been with the 1s the whole time, but he's 32 years old or whatever he is, and you can save a couple bucks by cutting him. But I don't know, have they seen enough from Deion Walker maybe to feel more comfortable? What do you think right now about Jordan Phillips coming back? Because it's not just him coming back. It means something else is going on as well.
Well, let's start with the player first. I feel like I think you and I have been pretty big maybe I'm wrong here. Like, we've liked Jordan Phillips throughout his career, where, in my opinion here, the film bros, not to throw shade, but I love to do that, they always hated him. They didn't like him when he was really good. Well, we thought he was good. And, he's been a guy who I think is a decent role player, for the most part. Now, the way he to me works, he's terrible against the run. He can get after the quarterback here and there, but he's old. And he's 33, and it just seems like, on one hand, I want to say it seems like a panic move because you're going back to that well that they love to do, which is like, let's sign our old players, which they tend to do a lot of. Yeah, like I was trying to count. I remember like earlier this week, you and I were talking about it with like the Trey White stuff. Like, man, how many guys have they brought back that have not been great their second time around or third or whatever? And then boom, here comes Jordan Phillips, and it's just like, okay, but. I don't know. I'm not exactly, on one hand, it's like, okay, he's an okay player. They have a defensive line rotation of doom. So who knows how much he will actually play because they have all these guys that come in. But to your point, yeah, it doesn't look great if you're going to sign this guy and you have, whether it's DaQuan Jones or Carter are getting the axe. I would, if you're asking me who would I pick between Carter and DaQuan Jones, I'm probably going to say, well, go with the younger guy. If you want to say bye to DaQuan. Because, at the end of the season last year, I think you and I both were like, okay, DaQuan Jones, he's out of here. Like, he's going to leave. And then they kept him. And I'm just kind of like, maybe he's staying, maybe he's not. Like, I don't know.
Carter's had a pretty crummy summer, though, man, from what I've seen anyway. And from what, listening to a lot of people who cover the team, it's just been a very quiet summer for Dwayne Carter going in the year, too. I like him. And he's kind of been a hybrid, like a little bit of one, a little bit of three tech, for whatever that means, which, by the way, let me say this, too, because I know a lot of people, whether they're commenting tonight or just on Twitter or Facebook or whatever it may be, I think the days with the Bills of having that traditional one tech and that traditional three tech are gone. I think they're getting guys who could do a little bit of both, like Deion Walker. Jordan Phillips is actually on him. He's older, but he could do a little bit of both. Dwayne Carter is playing a little bit of one, a little bit of three, things like that. So I'm not sure the old school, run thumping, lane clogging defensive tackle is really a part of what the Bills are doing right now. DaQuan Jones, like I said, man, he's been with the ones, but like you don't hear his name all summer long. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's not that he looks bad out there. I haven't noticed him at all. But, coming back to this Jordan Phillips thing, Joe, it's easy to remember, like, the biggest play of the game in the Kansas City championship last year was obviously Dalton Kincaid not coming down with that pass. But if you can remember, what was the biggest play on defense? If anybody out there, do you remember? It was Jordan Phillips. He had a huge sack on Mahomes that forced Kansas City into a field goal and gave Buffalo potentially an opportunity to have the ball and win the game near the end. That was the biggest play of the game, and it was Jordan Phillips who came up with that play. So
it could also be a part. Sorry to interrupt. It could be just a part of the plan. Like, you always hear about those veterans who don't want to come to training camp. You know what I mean? They're like, I'm just going to chill out, and maybe that's been like they're like, look, chill out, go eat some hot dogs or whatever the frick he does in the off season, and call it a day. So. I don't know. It is kind of weird that it just came out this way, but hey, we're
a lot of people in the chat, and I think this is the general sentiment, is that he's old and that he's washed. But here's the deal. Are you talking about Jordan Phillips? Or are you talking about DaQuan Jones, chat? Because you very easily could be talking about both of them. And by the way, real quick, just off subject for 2 seconds, because, now we're a handful of minutes into this, and there's a lot more people that have piled in. If you notice any video lag on the video side, let me know, because it looks good on my end. Joe said we were having some issues earlier, so if you see some lag on the video from either of us, let us know so I can try to diagnose what the problem is before the next live show. Anyway, back to this. The Bills have been kind of mysterious. Like, there's a lot of things that we don't know what's going to happen with the Bills over the next 24 hours or so, and this is certainly one of them, because they're not signing Jordan Phillips to the active roster and still keeping 5 nose tackles, and not even counting Ogunjobi, who's going to be suspended. I don't see them having 6 guys on the active 53-man roster. So maybe Dwayne Carter could get traded. Maybe by the time people are listening to this tomorrow, he ends up getting traded somewhere. I don't know. It's just really interesting. And it was not something that I expected to see on a Sunday. Jordan Phillips coming back. So,
well, like I said, well, what do you think of? You like him as a player? Or are you more like? Is it more about like your? Are you annoyed because there's other guys on the roster that you're like, why this is a red flag a little bit for you because these other guys you thought were going to take the bull by the horn or what?
I'll be annoyed if all right. So if Jordan Phillips was signed to the practice squad, it wouldn't bother me at all.
Sure,
that's fine. But him being signed to the active roster, if the move is that they're getting rid of Dwayne Carter, then I will be annoyed because, hey, it's a bad pick. There's no way around it. It's a bad pick for Brandon Beane. If they're getting rid of him before his second season, unless they're getting something really good back in a trade, which I highly doubt, that's just a straight up bad draft pick, man. It is a bad evaluation and a bad draft pick to be getting rid of a guy so quick. So if it's Jordan Phillips coming in at the expense of Dwayne Carter, I think it's too early to give up on a player like that. I think it is. Maybe I'm wrong. But again, if I'm not wrong, then that means it's just an awful organizational decision to draft him. And it's worse because that was the pick that they got in the trade down when they went off from 28 in Kansas City, took Worthy. So I don't know, man. It's surprising to me. It's surprising that he's going to be on the active roster and not the practice squad. That's what, again, it's kind of a mysterious because something else is coming. It's part of another move. We just don't know what it is as we're recording.
Do you remember off the top of your head how many defensive tackles they kept last year?
I want to say, so let's see. It was Ed Oliver, it was Daquan Jones, it was Jordan Phillips, and it was Quentin Jefferson and Dwayne Carter. So 5.
It was 5 last year.
So they had 5. As far as I can remember, they had 5 on the active roster. The guy who played for the Jags, I forgot his name, who was with the Bills last year. I can't remember his name. It's escaping me. He lined up a little bit inside, but he was an edge. Dwan Smoot. That's who I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
They had 5. They might have called up a guy from a practice squad a few times. He got elevated, which is what I thought would be the case with Phillips, but I don't know. Clearly it's not. Anyway, we'll see what happens. We're gonna know in the next 24 hours or so when the Bills make a move. But either it has to be Daquan Jones or Dwayne Carter. One of those two guys got to be on the move or getting cut. And I'll be surprised if it's Daquan Jones. But hey, we'll see. Let's switch gears here. And you said the preseason and how little it means and that it doesn't mean shit annually. And for the most part, you're right. But I've always said
all the parts.
Not all the parts.
All the
because,
parts.
Well, put it this way. We're going to find out if the preseason really, truly doesn't mean anything in the next 36 hours because there's 2 players that have straight up earned a roster spot based on their play in the preseason, 100%. And one of them's Tyrell Shavers, of course. And the other one, believe it or not, I think is the linebacker from Army that they just signed recently, Jimmy Charlo. Dude has been a beast on special teams. He had a great game in Tampa. Shaq Thompson has been hurt. Their first 4 linebackers are. But again, as much as you hate special teams, I've been telling you, these guys, linebacker 5, wide receiver 4 or 5, they got to play special teams. And Shavers is kind of a work in progress there, but Jimmy Charlo's been a standout for them on special teams. Maybe they keep 6 linebackers because of how good he's played, and they still keep Shaq Thompson too. But I guess my point is we're going to find out soon, dude. Tyrell Shavers he capped off an incredible summer, or a very solid summer, I should say, with an incredible catch and a great game in Tampa. Yeah.
Yeah. No, sorry. I was your video's delaying again, so I was waiting for you to stop. But that I don't know when I'm not sure when you stop, sadly. Anyways, I digress.
Maybe it's your. I hope it's yours, and
it might be.
For everybody.
I might just suck. It might be my issue. I think someone would have said we have issues here with the video. Anyways, here's the thing about preseason, and not to beat a dead horse. I mean, the horse is already in the can at this point. Preseason doesn't matter in terms of it affecting the outcome of games during the regular season. So Shavers and the linebacker, Charo Man, or whatever his name is, yeah, could they make the roster because of how they did in the preseason? Sure. Just like Buffalo, Buffalo Joe made it last year. But is it going to be an impact on your team? That's where I'm at, where I'm that's why I cannot stand preseason. Like, yeah, the 48 through 53 guys, like, yeah, you don't know who those guys are going to be. Preseason helps in judging that. But for me, I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's not going to really help your team. So, the Shavers thing is interesting. I feel like, I did see the one highlight last night with the one-handed catch. It was great, awesome. Obviously, it was a cool catch. But there's been a lot of guys like that have dominated preseason. Like Brandon Riley was a great wide receiver here during the preseason, never made the roster. I'm not saying Shavers won't make the roster or not. I mean, as you said, it is about special teams, and Shavers can't play special teams. Is that correct?
Well, he's not a special teams ace at this point, but he's been playing special teams. They've had him on special teams because he's got to get out there and he's got to be able to play special teams. And I think it's been decent. He's had some good reps, a couple reps that I'm sure he'd like back, but he's going to play special teams if he makes his team, which I certainly think he's going to based on how he looked this summer. I think he might have even changed their mind that it's possible they keep 6 receivers when they were only going to keep 5 just because of the value he brings to this team.
We'll see. I think they'd rather have more defensive linemen than wide receivers. So we will see. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen with your boy Curtis Samuel. I mean, he's injured. He didn't go.
Another mystery. It's another mystery. A lot of mysteries with this team right now, dude.
Yeah, like I could see them saying peace to him. I know like there's be some cap issues. You could probably rework some stuff, but the guy can't stay healthy. There's just a vibe that's kind of off a little bit, and that's not a good signing by your boy Double B. If that ends up going down the tubes like that.
Yeah, I hesitate to try to forecast things too much when we're recording this late on a Sunday night when Tuesday afternoon all cuts are due, and there might be some more moves as early as maybe Monday morning that we start to learn about. But again, with the whole mystery thing, I'm kind of fascinated with what the Bills are going to do now with wide receiver. Look, Keon, Shakir, Palmer, there's no discussion there. They're on the football team. Curtis Samuel, it's his availability. And he was back this week, and he was starting to ramp up, and I'm sure Sean wanted to see him play against Tampa, and he gets sick, and he doesn't even make the trip. But you're going to eat $7.5 million if you cut him. And you're not going to save anything either. That's a lot of money to eat for a player that's giving you at least, we'll say, some value when he's healthy out there. I think I was watching the Podfather, you like to call him, Joe Marino.
Podfather, yes.
His show. He said, for all the shit about Samuel missing all this time, he's only missed like 4 games in the last 3 years. So, he's played through injuries and stuff, but at the end of the day, he's been out there a lot. But anyway, what do they do with him? Do they trade him? I would bet that they would love to trade him. Get that money off the books completely. Minnesota's definitely a team that's looking at receiver. Frisco, maybe something happens on Monday or Tuesday where they trade Samuel. But if they don't, I just don't see him being cut. And Elijah Moore, to me, feels like somebody who just hasn't really done anything in the preseason. It doesn't look like a guy who's earned his keep, I should say, this summer with the Bills. But he's proven some in the NFL. He's got a $2.5 million guarantee contract. And if they cut him, that's money that they got to eat too. So, and they don't save anything. And then Shavers, who's just played his way on this football team right now. So, I don't know, man. I don't think unless they trade Samuel or Moore, I don't think they're cutting any of those guys. I think they're going to keep 6.
I kind of laugh when people talk about on Bill's X them trading Samuel. No one is going to want that guy. I'm sorry. I think, why would you trade for him? You're going to pay him $6 million or whatever his cap figure is for a guy
it's over 7. It's like 7.5.
No one is trading for him at all. It would be
you could give them incentive. The school of thought is it's like, hey, the Bills I'll give you Samuel in a 5th, and you give me a 7th. You know what I mean? Kind of draft incentive.
I guess, But
anyway,
we'll see what happens. I don't know.
We will see what happens. But like I said, the spirit of the thing is these guys, if they make the team, Shavers, I think Shavers is, I don't want to say a sure thing, but closer to where Charlo's still, maybe he's a roll of the dice right now, but I do think he's got a chance. He'll certainly be a priority practice squad addition if he doesn't make this roster. So, it's good to see. And he's looked really good at linebacker, which kind of brings me to another topic that I want to talk to you about here for a few minutes. And I want to be careful with this because people turned this into me blasting Brandon Beane, which was not what I was doing at all. But
yeah, you were.
All right, so we'll say this. Saturday morning, I
was drunk.
I'm not going to say source. I had a conversation indirectly with Sean Dolac, okay? And it was about, hey, go out there, show out, good luck against Cleveland, show why you belong. Everybody's so proud of you, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, well, I'd love to, but not playing. Like, huh? Rest? Yes, sir. Resting. That said right away that he made that football team. So Sean Dolac from UB, an undrafted free agent, went with the Rams and just has kicked ass there this summer. So much so that in the final preseason game where undrafted free agents are trying to find their way onto a roster, Sean McVay didn't even play him because he's locked in. He's on that football team. He's made that team. So obviously from the Buffalo angle, a kid that, I've known for a long time. His father coached my son, all that other shit. None of that matters. But what I'm telling you is that Buffalo's obviously proud of him. But also, there's a lot of people, look at the Bills linebacking position with Balin Spector's already gone. Joe Andreessen has been very up and down. It kind of feels like, in the eyes of some fans, the feel-good Buffalo story's kind of fading a little bit and make some freaking plays out there. Anyway, my point, Sean Dolac, who has looked incredibly well, there's a lot of criticism that the Bills didn't draft him or sign him after the draft. I could speak on the second half of that, but I think it's fair to criticize Brandon Beane that it's a miss. They drafted a wide receiver in the 7th round who's not even on the team. They already cut him. And they could have had Sean Dolac, and it feels like he would have been a good addition. And for anyone who says they got Buffalo Joe, listen to me when I tell you this. Sean Dolac is, if he's not already, he will be a better football player than Joe Andreessen. And that's not me pissing on Joe Andreessen. Joe Andreessen is a perfectly capable, rosterable NFL player who could do some things. I just think Sean Dolac is just going to be better than what he is right now. But anyway, I don't know. You in that? Like, hey, Brandon Beane, you could have drafted this dude. You screwed up.
No, I don't even know who the guy was until you talked about him today on Twitter. I don't even know who he was. I was like, who's this Dolac guy? He used to play basketball. You're asking the wrong dude, Bo. Why don't you save this question for like Matt Rich Warren III? Okay, you're asking me about some 4th string linebacker. Okay, I'm glad he made the team.
Well, he's a UB guy.
Well, I don't care. I'm a Buff State guy, and I don't like UB guys. So that's the end of that. Okay, sorry, bro. You asked. I'm being honest with you. I'm very I'm sad for your loss. Okay, but look, he's making an LA. Maybe who knows what will happen. I would not. I just saw some guy in the comments say you're upset about depth guys again. Stop being upset about depth guys. My God, dude. Save this for the freaking mailbag or whatever the satchel or whatever the hell bag you have.
Pod bag.
Yeah, whatever. Satchel's 10 gram. But yeah, I'm sorry, bro. You got the wrong. You got the wrong opponent. You got the wrong opponent.
You really don't pay attention to shit other than
I don't pay attention.
Other than the Bills in season, HBO shows, and politics.
I just don't care. I'm on my Bills text thread of my friends who love the Bills, and no one's brought up Dolac. Okay, just get out of here. You see, this is what happens when you're in the content bro echo chamber, and you're like, you're trying to compete with the content bros and Podfather, Airball Quinn, and you're like, oh, we gotta talk about Dolac. Who the fuck is Dolac? I'm sorry. This is the dumbest thing I've ever
Well, it's not dumb. He's a good football player, and he would have made this.
But you're biased. Team. You're biased because he's a Look, I'll give you credit. Where credit is. It's not credit, but you heart the local guys. You really do. You've always hearted them. You know them. You love them, and that's your Achilles heel because you love them. You would cheer for a team of name me some Khalil Mack. The guy who was a quarterback.
Jamarcus Ingram's a UB
Jamarcus
player.
Ingram, yeah. Who else is there?
Cam Lewis.
Starks, the guy who played for Green Bay, that running back. Drew Haddad, you probably were like, where's his jersey? I'm going to buy his jersey. This is ridiculous. Enough, okay?
Sean Dolac has a future in the NFL. I'm telling you, don't be so. He might become a starter. I'm just telling you, man. But the one thing, I do want to address one thing, though, seriously, because a lot of people like that. I got a ton of views on that story, and a lot of people were bitching about Brandon Beane not, why didn't they sign him after the draft? I could tell you without a doubt that there were at least 6, 7 teams that offered him after the draft. The Bills were one of them, and it was Sean Dolac who took a look at his options and decided that the Rams were, his best path, his best opportunity to making a team and becoming a player. So it wasn't that the Bills had no interest in bringing Dolac in after the draft. It's that at that point, Sean Dolac chose to sign with the Rams. But yeah, they could have taken him in the 7th round, and 31 other teams could have as well. And that's the comeback that everybody says. It's like, well, whatever. I don't give a shit about the 31 other teams. I care about what our GM's doing. GM, by the way,
it's fine. Like I said, you're biased. You're biased towards the homegrown guys. You're biased. Just admit it. It's fine.
Let's take on the video side, like literally a 5-second break, and we're going to come back. I'm going to give you 4 what I think are significant differences, all positive too, between this year's Buffalo Bills compared to last year's team. All right, back here with Joe from Queens, talking Buffalo, presented by Sunny Reds and also Imperial Pizza.
Please don't ever ask me about the 5th-string linebackers for another team ever again if you want to be friends with me. No more of that ever again. Dolac. I'm sorry, Mr. Dolac.
I gotta make sure his family don't listen to this.
Oh, look, I'm sorry.
They're gonna Mario Hamlin you if they listen to this.
I'm kidding, kind of. I just look. I got a 2-year-old. I can't pay attention to the preseason people. Come on. All
right. I want to get into 4 things with this year's Buffalo Bills. Now that the preseason is over,
Thank God.
2 weeks from now, Joe, literally as we're recording this, 2 weeks from now, the Bills are going to be playing the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football.
I'll be there.
You will be there. So you won't be on the show that night.
Thank God.
Unless you want to maybe do some drunk from the stadium on your phone afterwards or something.
I would do that if my phone's not dead. I'll come on, but possibly. Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, my point is this. The summer's over. I've identified, I think, 4 areas with this football team, or 4 things about this team that are borderline dramatically different this year than last year. And all these, I think, are in a good way. And there's some things you could go the other way too, where maybe they're not as good this year as they were last year. But I want to start with, to me, which is the biggest thing. And it's ironic because we just spent time talking about Jordan Phillips. Oh, it's a hot take alarm going off in New York City. It's supposed to do that when you talk, not me.
Yeah, sorry, I was muting myself, but hey, yeah, that's what happens when you live down the street from a fire station. Yeah,
it's like, New York City knew a hot take was coming, but despite the fact that Jordan Phillips is here and either DaQuan Jones or Dwayne Carter may not be here in a day or two, the depth of the defensive tackle position this year is dramatically better than it was last year. Ed Oliver is Ed, and, he's more experienced, and I think he's going to be better with other guys around him, too. But regardless of who's next to him, TJ Sanders and Deion Walker are legitimate, dude. I mean, and they're not going to tear the league up as rookies. I'm not going to say they're going to come in and have 8 to 10 sacks each. Not saying that, but the difference between them with pass rushing skills when they come into game as opposed to Quentin Jefferson, Dwan Smoot, or even Jordan Phillips, for the most part. Jordan Phillips flashes some here and there, but these pass rushers are really, really good, man. And Deion Walker, and I know you don't care about the preseason. You probably didn't even watch last night, but Deion Walker, 2 of the 3 preseason games he played in, he was a stud. And he was looking really good in there. He had a training camp. He is a big boy. The Bills traded up in the 4th round to get him. Brandon Beane has said that had he come out the year before, he probably would have been a 1st-round pick. I still think that's a little bit of hyperbole, but he would have been a, for sure, day 2 pick. Anyway, he has looked great. And I think, Joe, his play might be a reason why the Bills feel good enough to either move on from DaQuan Jones or Dwayne Carter, because they've gotten enough confidence now in Walker. And TJ Sanders is the 2nd-round pick who's got some real serious pass rush juice. He's going to line up next to Ed Oliver plenty this year. So I guess generally speaking, I'm just saying, I think the defensive tackle position this year is way better than it was last year.
I'll agree with that. I mean, it was pretty bad last year, to be honest. Like, outside of Ed Oliver, it wasn't that great. So you're not going too much ahead in terms of that. But yeah, they have more depth. They have a little bit of youth in there. I don't know about the rookies. I know you follow that much closer than I do, but I'll just reiterate that, Sean McDermott doesn't play rookies all that much. Like, he's a very mixed bag when it comes to playing rookies, especially on the defensive line, in my opinion. But yeah, they're definitely better. I am curious what the rotation is going to look like with the suspensions that are going to happen. Who's going to play more? And yeah, I definitely agree that the defensive tackle is a position they have gone better at. Like, they did invest a lot. I mean, what do you expect? They added, two guys in the draft in the first 3 rounds, and then freaking three free agents, or 2, I think it was. Well, but yeah, they care. Like, look, the team that loves defensive linemen, they have 100 of them. They've talked about this forever. They want this. They went on a sabbatical the last 2 years where I don't think really they addressed it as much as they normally did. And I think this was like the chickens come home to roost the last offseason, where it's like, this is what we're doing. We're gonna beat the heck out of this need. And we'll see how much that it matters. Like, I would really like for them to have a stud defensive lineman that's not Ed Oliver or not Greg Rousseau. I mean, I'm going just to the edge guys, but like, they need another guy to step up and not just be a guy that some jerk off's going to have film on Twitter and be like, well, look at here, he sealed the edge on this 7-yard gain. Like, no, I want a guy to make impact plays and all that sort of stuff. Like, there has to be a guy in that front 4 through the 10-man defensive line rotation that's going to be really cause some havoc. Like, let's get a guy out there. Well, that's my take.
Well, let's get to that. But before that, going back to the defensive tackle position one time again, sticking with this mystery thing, I don't know. Is that Oliver going to be playing next to Daquan Jones in week 1? Or is it going to be Dwayne Carter that moves on? And by the way, I didn't even mention Larry Ogunjobi, who's suspended for the first 6 games. Look, Brandon Beane, at the end of the day, he was a pretty early free agent signing, and one that Beane likes because he found out about the suspension afterwards, and they could have gotten out of that deal. And Brandon Beane ended up signing him anyway, even after he found out. So that tells me that at least Brandon Beane at the time thought that, he's going to be somebody who helps this football team. By and large,
keep one thing in mind that's just popped in my head. Them playing the Ravens may have something to do with them having a bunch of defensive tackles. Because, look, they can make a roster move after that game because they're going to run the ball 1,000 times. So they want as many beefy guys up front for this game. Just keep that in mind.
All right, so I want to go back to, so that's one position, defensive tackle. And the other are 3 players specifically, and 2 of them are actually returning players. But you just talked about somebody stepping up there on the defensive line. And from what I've seen and just kind of the vibes, what I feel, I think Joey Bosa is going to be that guy. I think Joey Bosa is going to be significantly more impactful to this football team, both with the pass rush and the run, than Von Miller or Dewan Smoot, the 2 guys who were here last year that are no longer here. Now, it was a little bit scary in the spring because dude got a calf injury. We're like, Jesus, here we go again. He's hurt. We haven't gotten the training camp, and he's hurt already. But from day 1 of training camp through today, there's been no setbacks with him health-wise. They have managed his workload very smartly. He didn't play much at all in the preseason. He did play that first drive against the New York Giants, the first one, and he looked really damn good on that drive. Drew a penalty, couple nice pass rushes. He's a very good football player that's capable of being a great player, to your point. And everything we've seen this summer and a little bit in the preseason just tells me that they're significantly better at that position now than they were a year ago, like I said, with Von Miller. Joey Bosa is going to play a big role on this football team, this defense specifically, I think.
Again, Von Miller didn't really do much last year. I mean, but he also didn't play that many snaps, like, per game. They really had him on a pitch count. I don't know if it was because of the injury history or, again, they love their 15-man defensive line rotation of doom. That could be the same thing with Bosa, where they're going to space him out. He's not going to be an every down player. That's going to affect his numbers probably. And
sure.
I don't have that much confidence. Like, do I think he's better than Von Miller? Yes. Von Miller's 34 off 2 major injuries. Bosa's what? He just turned 30, or he's
29.
29. He's a little bit younger, but again, the last 3-4 years he hasn't really done much. And I don't know how. Like, I do think he's going to probably a better defensive line where guys around him are better with Rousseau and Oliver. It would be nice if he's the guy. I don't. Let me ask you this. I mean, we're going to do a predictions piece next week. Do you see Bosa getting double-digit sacks?
I say probably no.
Mhm.
But to the point of this conversation, I still think he is a significant upgrade over Von Miller from last year. So you're talking about a difference from this team to last. I say no because law of physics say he probably ends up missing a couple games at some point during the season. And I also don't think he's going to play more than 40 to 50% of the snaps until it gets to be money time, later in the season. And the Bills do like to, their rotation of doom, as you like to call it, I think they're going to get a lot of.
It's just tough for me to say. Like, look, he's been kind of MIA. He was hot when he started in this league, then got hurt, and he's kind of been he's been okay for the last 3-4 years. I'm not judging camp. I don't care about camp. You know that. By the way, this popped in my head before we go down your rabbit hole over here.
Mm-hmm.
You take a lot into consideration when you're watching practice. Don't you consider that when you're at practice, the Bills aren't going to use their best plays for practice because there's fans there and there could be spies there? Like, does that ever come in your head? Like, okay, like, yeah, this guy looks great on this play they just had,
Sure.
but it's probably a shitty play. I was thinking about that while I was on the toilet the other day because I was.
They're not while you're on the toilet. I don't think they empty out the tank during the public portion of
at all. They don't even take anything out of the tank. It's just like there's techno Super Bowl plays, anyways. But
training camp technically actually just ended on Friday, but for the last week and a half or whatever, it's been media only. And once you get to that part, the media isn't allowed to report on some things that they are at the beginning. Wow. They kind of relaxed the rules with the media for the fan portion because fans could just tweet out videos anyway. Sure. So what the hell does it matter? But now it's only
you could also have scouts from other teams there too. Yeah. Like no one's going to check someone's pass. But anyways,
I feel good. But about Joey, I feel good about Joey Bosa this year. I think it's somebody. There's a lot of talking points with the Bills right now, and understandably so, between Josh and the corners and the injuries and stuff like that. But Joey Bosa's been solid. I don't know what more you could have asked for him to this point, and we'll see what happens, obviously, when they play Baltimore and beyond. But I just think it's a significant better addition. And my next
I don't know about significantly better. That seems like a stretch. But again, it sucks because they play so many guys and different snaps, and it's hard to be like, hey, is this guy going to be great like this season? Because he's not going to play that many snaps in comparison. I always talk about the 2014 Bills with like Hughes and Darius and Williams and both Williams, and they always played every down, and they don't do that here. So it's hard for me to get excited. Oh, he's going to be so much better. Like, how? He's got to play a lot. And I don't think he's going to play a lot. I think they're going to really slow play him because I think they're thinking of January and then like, okay, we don't want him to get hurt. I don't know. That's kind of my feeling.
They slow played Von Miller too, though. So it's not like Von was out there 70%. Von Miller played 25% of the snaps in the playoffs.
Yeah, but you're right. But I think part of that, I don't know why they did that. Maybe he was done.
It's baffling to me as well. Comment from Johnny Utah here in the live chat. We'll stay with Bo. He says, Bosa's a great player, is worth the gamble and a much better gamble than the ridiculous Von Miller contract at age 33. That was a huge risk. Sure, I agree. I think Joey Bosa, it was worth the gamble. 1 year, $12.5 or $12.6 million. We'll see how it works out. But like I said, I feel better. If you want me to retract the word significantly better, I'll retract that. I feel better about this team with him here than I did last year with Von Miller.
Sure, I could agree with that, but I don't know how much better it's going to be. It could be a smidge.
All right, well, the next guy on my list, and I do think this has the potential to be a dramatic difference, is 2025 Matt Milano opposed to 2024 Matt Milano. Look, we joke. You're not joking. I mean, you legitimately hate training camp and you legitimately hate preseason. That's not jokes. That's not. I hate
August.
That's not a gimmick. That's not a shtick. That's just who you are for real. Yeah. And I will give you a lot of stuff. Shavers might make this team and Charlo might make this team because of the preseason. But by and large, you're generally right. Like Shane Buechele looked like Joe Namath on Saturday. He's not making this football team. I understand. Frank Gore has looked tremendous. He's not making this football team. I understand that. But I can't emphasize this enough. Every practice that I went to, that I saw with my own eyes, and reports from other people too when I was in there, Matt Milano was just a beast. And Bobby Babich last week said that he can make a strong case. He was arguably the best player in training camp on either side of the football throughout camp. he has been moving like it's 2022 all over again, just making plays like crazy. Very first play of that Giants preseason game is just one play, but it felt symbolic of the whole summer. Duke catches the ball in the flat, bam. There's Matt Milano, no gain. Matt Milano came back last year, little rust. I thought he was mid, improved to good-ish. Had a pretty good game against Baltimore, had a couple nice plays, but he wasn't at that all-pro level of Matt Milano. I'm not saying he's going to necessarily be an all-pro this year again, but I think you're going to see, as long as he can stay healthy, which of course is the key. But Matt Milano right now is significantly, I'll use that word again, significantly better than anything we saw from Matt Milano last year.
Again, it's camp, so I'm going to take it easy on that. But I will just say I worry about Milano in terms of he always has these weird, freaky injuries like he's had in the last couple of years. And like it's training camp. Like obviously if he stays healthy, yeah, he's great. I got no beef with him, his play. When he's on the field, he's good. End of last year, it took him a while to get used to it, and I don't even think he was all the way there when the season ended. But how long is going to last is kind of my biggest worry.
That's completely understandable too.
But, look, he's the X factor on the defense. Like this is a guy who was an All-Pro a couple years ago. Like he's the X factor right now. So we have to see how that works. But yeah, he's definitely. I'm not gonna give me a break about the training camp bullshit. But yeah, if he's healthy, he's a player. Like he could definitely change the defense around. If he's anything like he was, in 2022, I think was the last year he was really good. So, but that's a tough thing. Like I'm worried about that, and I'll just leave it at that. I'm worried about him staying healthy because he has played a lot of football. He has played football since he got into the league. He started from day one. Okay, that's 8-9 years ago now, and he's a linebacker. Kind of an undersized linebacker as well, a little bit. Like, not like, he's not Ray Lewis giant or whatever, but like, it worries me that could happen. So,
I think he's a top 5 linebacker in the NFL when healthy. And if he's playing like he looks this summer, he'll stay that way. I got to pull up a comment in the live chat here on the YouTube side, folks. John Sanders got me scrambling a little bit. He just said Levi Wallace just got signed to the 53.
Yeah, you did too.
He had me scrambling, which, again, normally I'd laugh at shit like that, but this is the running back Bills. This is running back Bean, man. And you bringing back Jordan Phillips and, they're talking about bringing about Gabe Davis. I think that's going to go away, by the way, the Gabe Davis story. But, yeah, shit, I wouldn't surprise me. Dane Jackson was brought back. Trey White was brought back. These guys just keep coming back, man. It wouldn't surprise me if they did sign Levi Wallace. They didn't, by the way, for people, at least not right now anyway.
Yeah. I know we talked about this in the opening about them bringing back Jordan Phillips. It's just one of those, why do they bring back so many guys? And there's a thing that makes me think they lack confidence in some of the guys. Like, who's making the call? Like, because when you think about bringing back guys, I feel like that's a coach being like, I want this guy to come back. Because like, why did he leave in the first place? Like the GM could have kept him or let him go. Usually the coach is the one who wants to keep everyone. But it's just like I said, like I can't think of it's always this is a new place we're in with the Bills being great. Like I can't think of many times when like the Chiefs or the Patriots even brought back guys constantly. Like we're at like 8-9 guys they brought back. And it's just kind of like, do they not have confidence in what the new guys are bringing in? Is this something where where McDermott, it's like, bring back my guys that know the system?
Sean's got guys he likes. That's not even debatable at this point. He's got a handful of guys he likes and he wants around this team. By the way, Mark said, that's not the right one. Who the hell was it? It was Ariello Grande said, we're going to bring Mitch Morse back out of retirement for the Fields. Mitch has got a brand new podcast.
Yeah.
That's out there.
You got to go pander to him so you can get him on this show.
Yeah, I definitely do. I bet you would. I bet you it's a good. I haven't actually. It's debuting on Monday.
Oh, you'll be retweeting that in no time. You'll be like, "This is the greatest podcast ever. Please come with me if you want to live on my podcast."
Guys, next week I'm going to tell you this. I'll give you a full week notice, everybody. Joe every day sends me on Facebook. He records a message making fun of me, poking fun at me, I should say, and poking fun at the Content Bros
And the Beat Bros.
He
I make fun of everyone.
He sings parts of wrestling themes, but he changes the lyrics to make fun of me. And like I said, some of the content bros.
Yes, I already told Pat, guys, when I die, he can release all these
I'm going to
tracks.
release a few of them next week. We'll go over a couple of them.
We are?
I'm going to give the fans a little bit of a taste of what
I don't want to be on
this
show. No. You love it. I mean, it's we should start a Patreon where I'll just have a CD for people who sign up to our Patreon account, and I'll just have recordings.
Bill's just signed Nate Odoms.
That's your boy.
Nate Odoms. There you go, man. Bring him home. Yeah. All right. So the fourth guy, I said I had four things. So I said the defensive tackle position. I think Joey Bosa, Matt Milano, and I'll admit this one is more of you got to wait to see it during the regular season on the field. It's only been summer and camp and a joint practice. But dude, Keon Coleman has stood out all summer long. He has made play after play. Catches, contested catches, and he's done it plenty against Trey White and Christian Benford too. It's not like he's being schleps out there at practice every day. He had a beautiful touchdown catch in the joint scrimmage against Chicago. He didn't play in that game. He's barely played at all in the preseason, so you can't, evaluate him whatsoever in the preseason. But he looks a little bit bigger. I mean, not as big as, the dramatic difference that some people have said, but it looks like he's gotten a little bit bigger. His routes just look he just looks more serious this year. And I don't know if you've noticed this, and we might talk about, I know you got a couple takes on Hard Knocks, and we'll get to that at the end, but he hasn't been on Hard Knocks. It's like, it's not gimmicks and funny games with him right now. It just feels to me like it's a lot more about business. That's not to say he hasn't been cool, you know what I mean, or anything like that. He's been fine, but he just seems to be really locked in right now, and he's had a tremendous summer. And I think you could see a significant difference between him last year and him this year. You'll see more consistent play out of him this year. He'll have a couple drops, and that'll drive you crazy. But I think Keon Coleman is on his way to being what a lot of people hoped he would be with an early second-round pick. He's had a great summer, Joe.
Okay, well, as you know, I don't like the summer, especially when it comes to football. But I will say, he's a second-year guy. He showed promise last year, in my opinion, until he got hurt. And then that just kind of sidetracked everything a little bit for him. But, it would be great. They don't have a stud wide receiver as of now that's like, oh, man, you got a game plan against this guy, since they lost Diggs. Like, we like Shakir. He's banged up. I don't know when he's supposed to be back by week 1, Shakir. But, it would be nice if they have some guy, a younger guy, step up on the offense, especially the skill guys. And, they did draft him in, one of the most hyped drafts in a long time, since the Allen draft, where it was get a wide receiver, you idiots. And then that was the guy they got. So we'll see what happens in terms of, I don't know if he's taking it more seriously. I thought he took it serious last year, and a lot of people were really trying to make him into a clown that covered him, in my opinion, last year more so. And I'm not saying it's not his fault. He did have some jokes, but who gives a shit? But whatever. If you want to say more serious now, fine. But he needs to definitely come through. To me, if you want the Bills to break through and beat the Chiefs or the Ravens, even though I think the Ravens right now, that's a team that scares me the most, like the Ravens do. But one of these second or third year guys needs to come through and be a good player. Okay, and not just a guy. I don't want AJ Epinesa 4.0 on this freaking roster with some of these guys.
You already got it. His name is Landon Jackson. Oh, he's 2.0 anyway.
Well, no, I'm talking about AJ Epinesa. They kept him around, but he's just a guy. I'm not I can care less he's on the team or not. I'm just saying they need a guy who's going to be good, who's going to come to the next level. Whether it's a rookie, they need the younger talent on this team to come through. Okay,
agreed.
That's what they need. Because right now, in my opinion, it's the Josh Allen, James Cook show on offense. On defense, it's Christian Benford, Ed Oliver, Greg Rousseau, the linebackers. They need another guy on either side of the football to really come through. Talking skill, obviously their offensive line is great, but they need one of their younger guys to come through badly.
I agree with that, man. I think Keon Coleman. I think a big key to the Bills sustaining the success they had on offense last year is Keon Coleman stepping up. And based on what we've seen so far, it looks promising. That's, I guess, the best you could say at this point. He looks promising. Before we get into your Mount Flushmore, wasn't really planning on talking this, and we will dive into this more next week when we kind of do like a season preview, or at least do your predictions on next week's episode. But the two issues, so as we talk about things I really like about this team, the two things that are, I think, most concerning is the safety, Cole Bishop, and CB2 right now. Cole Bishop had a pretty good week at practice from what reports said, and he looked really good against Tampa. I thought it was very important for him to get out there and play well against Tampa. Well, because he was really, really bad before. And again, coming back from this injury, Sean McDermott did not sound confident in Cole Bishop a week ago. And I feel like Cole Bishop, kind of by starting against Tampa and playing well for his appearance, they're going in the... I'm very confident now. I changed my mind. I thought last week at this time, I thought Damar Hamlin was going to start with Taylor Rapp. Today, I think it's definitely going to be Cole Bishop that starts.
You're so bipolar when it comes to August. You can't.
I
You're
am.
just bipolar. You're just bipolar about it. But
I am. But the other thing, and this is something that's obviously concerning. So Max Saracen gets hurt early in the camp. Trey White is holding it down. Trey White was probably going to start the season anyway. Like, Trey White was getting to work with the ones ahead of Max early on anyway. But now Trey White gets hurt, and we talk about the mystery stuff again. Here we are on Sunday night. Hopefully Monday we might get some update. We might not know anything until Wednesday because that's the next time Sean and Brandon will speak with the media. Yeah. So if something's not reported, we might not have any idea what Trey White's
God forbid if the reporters go and do their job instead of getting ice cream in Rochester. But yeah.
How worried are you right now about Trey White? Because it certainly seems like best case scenario, he's going to be out a few weeks. To me, that feels like the best case scenario right now, which is it Dane Jackson that starts? Is it the rookie Dorian Strong? The answer to that, by the way, is no. Dorian Strong not starting.
Let me go back to Cole Bishop and I'll go to Trey White. So Bishop, in terms of what he's done, again, I'm a broken record, dead too as well. It's preseason. He looked good against the backups for Tampa. Like, come on. Like, I'm not gonna give me a break. But with that being said, you have to, like I bitched about last week, when you're going in preseason, you have to have systems in play, planning for guys, planning against the opponents, which you don't do. You do it in the regular season. So, yes, hopefully he will be good this year. They need him to do something. He looks, you see him fly around the ball. He looks athletic enough that, he has a bit of that. He looks a little bit like Hyder Poyer, kind of like if you switch jerseys and you just looked at him in an 8x10 photo, they kind of look the same a little bit in terms of the body, like with all three of them together, as far as I'm concerned. But obviously, yes, it would be great if they do well. I think McDermott a week ago when he was talking shit about Cole, we don't have a safety. I think he was just trying to
light a fire on his ass.
Yeah, light a fire on his ass. I mean, could he have been sending a message to Brandon Beane or the GM? Because McDermott's a lot more. I don't know. He's a little bit more critical of things now than he used to be. He used to be very guarded, and it's one thing he can show a personality, but now he's critical of his guys a lot more than he used to be. And I don't know if he's trying to send signals to other people, we need better guys or whatever, but it's just something to keep a watch on because he's, he may have found a personality in comparison with doing Snow Angels, but he's also talked shit more than he used to about players on his team, which is interesting to me. But going back to Trey White, I go back to when they signed him, and I remember you and I had this podcast when we were talking about it, or maybe you didn't talk on the podcast, but I saw it on Twitter that you thought Trey White, they signed him to be on the practice squad, originally, when you first saw it. Do you remember that at all, or no? Before you saw the contract come out, I remember you thinking, "Oh, he's coming on the practice squad," kind of what he did with Baltimore. And then we all saw.
Then the contract.
Then the contract came out, and it was like, "Oh wait, he's making the roster kind of contract." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's interesting." And look, Trey White, vibes wise, he's great. Everyone loves him. Top 4 bill since Josh Allen got here in terms of personality, everything. You can make a case that he's more popular than Deion Dawkins, whatever, either one. You don't sign a guy to be your starting or flex guy who's going to split time with a rookie who's coming off 2 major injuries like he has. And this is once again, why I did not like the signing in terms of I like Douglas better in terms of I'd rather have Douglas than Trey White coming off 2 bad injuries and being shitty last year and playing a little bit with Baltimore. And I think the vibes got in the way of a lot of fans probably ourselves at different points than like for what he is. And I just don't. And like right now, we don't know what's happening. But like they're being very, very like they're not saying shit to anyone right now. And it's been like we're recording this Sunday night.
Joe, I think there's a chance that maybe they don't know the timeline yet, which means it's it's not a season-ending injury, but I think there's a good chance that they don't even know yet how long he's going to miss. But he's going to miss time. I mean, that's pretty obvious right now.
But that's the thing. Like I just did not like the sign in. This is what I was worried about. Like you get an older guy, you're playing the hits again, the old hits. Love Treyway, like I said, but he should not be in the conversation as your second or third cornerback. He just shouldn't be. I'm sorry.
I don't think he was meant to be. I think he was here to push a first round or first pick corner. But I think
what made you think a first round corner was going to start from day one? They do not have that history here of that.
No. You're right about that. But I think that was the idea that, hey, he's going to push a first rounder, and if that first rounder's not ready, we'll have Trey's good enough to hold it down. Look, I don't feel confident. I didn't feel confident about this at any point. He was awful with the Rams last year, and he was adequate with the Ravens. The thought was, well, he's now 2 years removed from a major injury. Instead of one, he'll have that speed back. He looked really good at camp for the most part, but there were some plays that you could see the struggle, man. But here's the deal. They got a problem right now because you're not going to have Max Harrison probably for at least the first month. Trey White, who knows? It might be 2 weeks. It might be 6 weeks. It might be 10 weeks. Who knows? I don't think he's going to be your week one corner anymore. What the hell are they going to do? I think Dane Jackson should be cut. I don't even think he should be on this roster. But he's probably going to start week one, I would think. I know somebody in the chat said Dorian Strong, the rookie. That's not happening. He's just not ready to start. Jamarcus Ingram's the only other option now. He's ideally not a starter. Dane Jackson has starting experience.
I would call Douglas and just figure out a way to get him back. That sounds horrible.
I don't have Dane Jackson. What would be the point?
To have Dane Jackson the starting? What do you want?
I know, but if it was going to be that, why not just have Rasul Douglas here from all the camp at that point to compete?
Well, he doesn't
after Max Harrison went down, they should have had him here.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't. Well, they thought Trey was going to be that guy. I guess I don't know. The secondary is a worry for me. They play a lot better quarterbacks this year than they did last year. It is a worry for me, and you got to hope like this defensive line rotation of doom gets after the quarterback so they can take pressure off the secondary.
Let me give you some optimism here with the secondary. And you're right. And far and away, it is the most worrisome part of this roster, and more specifically CB2, without question right now. But you look at their schedule the first month of the season. Let's just say Harrison misses the first 4 games, and maybe Trey does as well. Mm-hmm. Those first 4 games, you're going against Lamar. That's going to be hell. Baltimore's going to be motivated. We all know that. Sunday Night Football, that's going to be hell for the Bills defense, with or without Trey White or Max Harrison. Doesn't matter who's out there. Week 2, though, they're at the Jets and Justin Fields. Not a world beater. They're at home the following week against Tua. And Sean just coaches circles every time around McDaniel. So they'll figure out something to stop Tua. They do a really good job of that. And then week 4, they're at home against the Saints. You could be out there playing CB2 against the fucking Saints. So they're going to be okay the first month. Then week 5 is when it starts. They're at home against Drake May, who's going to be good. Then they're at Atlanta, and then they got the bye. So they're not playing the world beaters at quarterback early. It's later on when they're going against the Mahomes and the Burrows and the Baker Mayfields and the Jalen Hurts. You know, there's more the back half of the season is more loaded with good quarterbacks. Point being, it is definitely a concern, but there's not a bunch of great quarterbacks and offenses that they're going to see early on. But I think Dane Jackson, who otherwise would be cut, he still might get cut. He might get cut. They might have a handshake agreement. We're going to bring you back to the practice squad. We're going to elevate you the first couple weeks, and you're going to start. Don't sign, and he won't go through waivers because he's more than a 4-year veteran. So he could just re-sign with the Bills. He's an immediate free agent. So I think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to cut Dane Jackson, but then they're going to re-sign him and either to the active roster or the practice squad, but he's going to start, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all, dude. He stinks. Sure. That's rough. Saying a player stinks. He's not great.
Oh, now you have a conscience now? Okay, sure.
Speaking of stinking, let's do your Mount Flushmore for this week.
So
we're switching gears here, and this is, for everyone who doesn't know, Joe is doing the worst of something instead of a Mount Rushmore, it's a Mount Flushmore. What's the topic this week? What do you got?
Okay,
And by the way, one more thing, too. I'm sorry. I'm going to get the comments, too, at the end. People have been leaving some really good comments. I forgot to say this earlier. I'm going to circle back and read some of them off, and we'll get to those.
Yeah, if you have questions, put them at the end, because Pat can't read too long. So if you put them at the end, he'll put them up. So the last couple of Mount Rushmores, or Flushmore, excuse me, I've been doing stuff about the stadium because, it's the last year at the stadium, but I'm doing negative stadium stuff. I'm not doing the positive. Pandemonium. No, we're keeping it negative here. We're heels over here on this podcast. So I'm doing the Mount Flushmore, the worst plays in Ralph Wilson Stadium, Highmark, Rich Stadium history. I asked Twitter, about this. I'm never on that shit show, but I'm going back a little bit, which I regret that immensely, but I am a little bit here and there. And I asked a bunch. So we're gonna what's the wrestling? Give me a wrestling term. We're gonna take it slow. We're gonna do a lockup. Slow burn. Thank you. Yes. So I have like 30 of them here. So I'm just gonna run them through real.
Read off 30 of them.
There's like 20. I'm gonna be quick, but all I want you to say.
Be quick, then, man.
I want you to just say to me, Pat, like, okay, that's not on your list. Okay, so we're gonna do this quick. Okay. Bledsoe naked bootleg against the Patriots. He fumbled it, and Seymour returned it for a touchdown. 2004. Do you remember that play? Should that be on this list?
No.
Okay. Greg Williams punting from the New England 32-yard line in 2002. It was Bledsoe versus Berry. Do you remember that? They were 32 line on New England. Should that be on the list?
It shouldn't be on the list, but that was the worst.
Okay. Chad Morton overtime kickoff return for a touchdown in the opener in 2002.
I don't remember it.
You don't remember that? Oh man, that was dude, that was Bledsoe's first game. It was the first game I watched when I was in New York City, and Chad Morton returned 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown. He returned one in overtime that beat the Bills. It was horrible. But anyway, that's not on my thing. On my top 4 or bottom 4. Justin Jefferson's insane catch on 4th and a mile against the Bills from 2022. Do you remember that? Go ahead.
Here's the craziest part of that play.
Go ahead.
The craziest part is it's among the worst plays in Highmark Stadium, but it's not even the worst play of that freaking football game. Yeah. It's not even the worst play of that game. It's probably 2 top 10 plays ever at that stadium. Bad plays for the Bills were in that game. But no, It's not on the list because it's not even the most in the game. But it was ridiculous. Oh, my God. Okay. What a catch, too. No.
Okay. Nate Peterman runs for 37 yards instead of throwing a Hail Mary in his final start as a Bill. Do you remember that game?
I sort of do, yeah. That's bad. Not on my list, but yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, it's not on my list, but that was embarrassing. Roscoe Parrish fumbles in the 6-3 Browns game in that classic 2009 where he fumbles it with like a minute and a half left. He muffed it, and the Browns kicked the field goal. Is that on the list? Is that on here?
I remember the game. I remember them losing the score, the snow, but I didn't remember that play, so I can't say that.
Okay.
My memory's kind of going on me a little bit.
Yeah, you're an old man. 10 men on the field against Miami, which results in a long run in overtime. It's Rex's last game.
Yeah.
Should that be on there?
It should be certainly honorable mention. It's certainly honorable mention because it was – that put the stamp on how undisciplined and overrated the Rex Ryan Buffalo Bills were. At least his defense. Yes.
All right. Again, we're doing the worst plays in French and stadium history. I have not gotten to my top 4 yet. I've not revealed them yet. Okay. Too many men on the field against Denver that resulted in re-kicking a field goal against the Bills in 2023 after the Broncos had missed the field goal. You had suggested that on Twitter.
Yeah, it would be on my list. They literally lost a football game literally because of coaching. Now, what some people will forget was that Denver had called a timeout the play before that to run a play and get their guys off the field and run, and the Bills didn't get coached up. And as a result, it was Leonard Floyd who did not know to get off the field. So the Bills had 12 guys. The Denver kicker missed the field goal. The game was quite literally over. The clock said 0. The Bills won the game. But because they didn't get coached up and Leonard Floyd had a brain fart because of that, he didn't get off the field. They had a second chance. They literally, that's, a play
could shape a game. That play.
I am. I'm still pissed off about it. There's some plays that shape a game. That was literally the game because there was no other plays after that game. The game was over. The Bills won, but they lost. So that absolutely would be on my list.
All right. It's not on my list. Sorry. Onside kick recovery against the Cowboys in 2007 on the Monday Night Football game.
bad. I don't know if it'd be on my list because they sucked. They sucked at that time anyway. So it's like, whatever.
It's on my list. So that's number one.
It's on my Billsy list, but
it's on my Flushmore because that game just destroyed my life in 07. I've told the story where I was working and shit hit the fan at work, and then this was happening, and I was losing my mind, and I wanted to die. It was horrible. It's on my list, but I get what you're saying. They were terrible, so who cares? Big deal. Damar Hamlin, your boy, a fake punt against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
It's well, I don't know. It's close, but I'll say this: as much as I could shit on Damar for things, I don't blame him for that. It was the call, and nobody blocked in front of him. Like 4 guys missed a block. He was dead. The second the ball touched his hands, that play was dead. And if it works, Sean McDermott is he's a gunslinging hero. If they go on and that ends up mattering. Plus, the Bills actually got to stop. Kansas City didn't get any points afterwards.
Yeah, the fumble.
Jordan Poyer had that goal line play to save the touchdown. So it didn't even actually hurt him that game. So I'd say no for that reason.
Okay. The Stephon Diggs drop in that game.
Yes.
Ooh,
that's probably there. But I'll also say it doesn't mean the Bills win the game if he catches the football. But it just... At the time, it really just symbolized, the dissension that he had with this team, and
so you got that on. You got that on. So right now, you have 2 on my list. So you have the too many men on the field against Denver, and then you have the drop.
Diggs is yes, but I potentially could move it.
You could move it off, and that's fine. You could definitely move it off as we're going. Okay. I guess this is what some older person recommended. Tom Dempsey missed a game-winning kick for 34 yards. That would have beat Miami in 1979 when there was no time left on the clock.
I don't remember that, but what I will say is that they would have ended they would have won an entire decade of losing to Miami if he makes that kick. I can't put that on my list. Though.
Yeah, if it was like 1973 or 4, I would have said sure, but like they stopped the streak the next year, so Sure. Okay, James Harrison returned for a touchdown against Bledsoe in the 2004 finale against the shitty Steelers backups.
Yeah, God, that's close. That's close. That might actually bump off the Stephon Diggs drop.
Okay. I have that on my list. That was a terrible game.
They could have made the playoffs.
They could have made the playoffs. You're playing the backups. This is the more and who knows what would happen. Like, does Bledsoe stay put if they win that game? But it was embarrassing. It was like one of the worst regular season losses ever. That's terrible. And you could go a couple plays in that game. Like, I think of that because that iced the game. And then you had the Willie Parker long run. But that Harrison one was terrible because it was. And funny thing was, no one knew who James Harrison was then, and he becomes great. So
I just want to add, by the way, if you happen to be watching this live on the video side, the chat's popping, but they kind of got their own, as usual, their own conversations. I'm seeing Super Bowl predictions, some other plays that I'll highlight and throw up here in a second, but it's popping, man. Keep it up. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and again, this is for the worst plays in Hallmark, Rich Stadium, Ralph Wilson Stadium history at the game. So don't mention McKelvin in the chat because him fumble happened in New England. So moving on, Ernest Wolford's touchdown against the Bills, against the Jags, in the last second. Remember the opener in 2004?
Wasn't it like fourth and forever?
That you're thinking of Jimmy Smith catching like a long bomb.
Clemens.
Yeah, over Nate Clements. No, Wolford was the last play of the game, and he just Leftwich just chucked it in the back of the end zone. Wolford came down.
Yeah, I remember that. It's not on my list, but
okay. All right, moving on. We're almost done. Don't worry. Bryce Brown fumble against the Chiefs in 2014. He fumbled it, and he was about to score a touchdown. They were up 10-3. He's going to score a touchdown. He fumbles it, and it bounces right in the hands of Scott Chandler, who can't keep it, even though it bumped perfectly in his chest, and they went out of the end zone, and they end up losing that game. Do you remember that play?
I do remember that, and it was really annoying. Not on my list, but yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, that was terrible. The Stevie Johnson drop.
I was going to say Tooch brought that up in the live chat too. You know what? Yes, I would put that ahead of the Stephon Diggs drop.
Okay.
Just because it just felt like, again, I keep using the word symbolic. Like that was just the Bills. And it also indirectly, I mean, I suppose it's a good thing. You know, the whole Bills Mafia thing was born on that play, essentially. Stevie Johnson dropping that pass. A lot of people don't love all that comes with Bills Mafia, so there might be some people who hate on that. But anyway, yeah, I put that on my list. That the game was over. You win the game.
Yeah.
100%.
I will always remember I was watching it with a Steelers fan who was my ex-roommate, and I just remember being at a bar. He catches it, and I just jump out of my seat because I'm like, that's a touchdown. And then he drops it, and I went, oh my God, I almost knocked the waitress over because I like done a spin in the middle of the bar. It was terrible. But yeah, you're right. It did make the Mafia, so yeah, right. Jim Kelly, Tyrell Buckley, pick six. I don't know if you remember this game. It was 96. And it was Kelly's last year, and it was against Miami. They were going against Craig Erickson, and they were down 14-7 with like a minute left, and they were like, Kelly threw an intentional grounding pass at the goal line, which was weird because you never see intentional grounding on the goal line ever. So he forced the ball. Tyrell Buckley took it to the house. And then after the game, Jim Kelly was livid and wanted to kill everyone and said like he sucked, and that was his last year. You don't remember that play, do you?
Not really. No, I don't.
No problem. I have a Jim Kelly, Lewis Oliver, pick six for 103 yards in 1992. Remember
that was bad. That's not on my list. I do remember that. That was really, really, really bad.
Yeah, and that was when that series meant a lot, and they lost that game, and they ended up going to the Super Bowl. They lost the division that year, but that was okay. These next two, and these are the two that are on my list. And I will go over quick the list. Josh Allen fumble against the Vikings.
My answer is yes. And by the way, I was going to pull this out because Mads Vids, by the way, regular on the show. I haven't seen him on the live chat in a while, though. He said the worst play is the Vikings game with Allen fumbling on the goal line.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say this game, it might not have been that specific play that they lost the game, although they should have won the game. It should have been over 100%. But there were still plays after that where, like, with Stevie Johnson's drop, the game was over. The missed field goal, the game was over. There was still football left here, but it should have been over. But anyway, this might have been the most consequential one because if that doesn't happen, the Bills win that game, they're going to end up winning the first seed. They get the number one seed.
Yeah.
They don't play Cincinnati that year in round two. And, they play Jacksonville at home in round two. They probably get to at least the AFC Championship against the Bengals or the Chiefs, and then you see what happens. But, yeah, that was just, Harrison Phillips, I believe, caused that because he timed the count. Inexcusable.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Absolutely. The game, they had Shaq Lawson makes the play of the game, play of the season at that time with the goal line stop, and then they fucking fumble the ball back, and Minnesota goes on to win in overtime.
Yeah. That's on my list. That was
Patrick
terrible.
Peterson interception in the end zone. Give that some honorable mention as well in overtime. But anyway,
the fumble one, because it just the game was over. Like who fumbles a snap on victory formation? That does not happen.
Yeah, that's probably number one for me.
Yeah, that's on my list. So that's on the Flushmore. And finally, this is also on my Flushmore. It's the last game of Jim Kelly's career. I was there against the Jaguars. He gets concussed on that play. It was the end of an era, as far as I'm concerned. Like, you can say Flutie and all this shit, but that was when you really had Super Bowl aspirations when he was there, and that ended it. And then also, what gets lost in that play was he fumbled the ball. The referees ruled that he fumbled it, and then Jacksonville recovered, and the Bills were going in to try to score. They were in the Jacksonville territory. When he fumbled it, his knee was down. They did not have replay then, so they couldn't reverse it. So Jacksonville gets the ball. They go down the field, kick a field goal to go up by 3, and then Todd Collins is freaking there to try to rally them, and it was a disaster, obviously. And so just to recap, my Flushmore is Jim Kelly concussed in the final game, Josh Allen fumbles against the Vikings, the James Harrison return for a touchdown against Bledsoe in the 2005 finale, and the onside kick recovery against the Cowboys in 2007. So that's my Mount Flushmore for the worst plays ever. I appreciate everyone in the comments, and then
Ralph Wilson Jr. added Sage blowing out the Bills 298 yards.
Oh yeah,
in 2017.
We'll definitely do the next Flushmore. Will definitely be like the worst games there. Like we did the important games before, but we got more stuff to do. Possibly, I can find ways to get heat.
Yeah, Paul Walker. Joe said this earlier too. He said Peterman 5 picks and a half. But again, these are games at home. That was on the road. That was on the road.
But Peterman did make honorable mention for that stupid Hail Mary that he couldn't throw because he didn't want to throw a pick. Oh, we've come a long way.
Do you got some quickly too? Because again, it's kind of old news, but we haven't had a chance because you're on Sundays, Monday podcast. Hard Knocks drops on Tuesdays. You kind of caught up.
Finally got caught up. Yeah, I don't want to take away your heat because I know you ranted about this. I caught up to it. I feel the same way probably you do. It's a nice little love letter to the town. but it's boring
Yeah.
for the most part. But it's fine. Like, it's the thing that kind of irked me was the James Cook negotiation didn't even exist. We didn't see any of it. We just Brandon Bean wakes up and he tells his assistant, "Hey, we signed him." And old school Hard Knocks would have had conversations with the agents and all that sort of stuff. And I was just like, this is so stupid. Like, really, we can't. And maybe I'm holding on to something that happened, when the show was on 20 years ago with Dallas, and they were much more like on people's asses about that. And that's old news. I know people are not shocked by that because whether the Bills have final cut approval, the league does, or who knows at this point.
It's definitely the Bills.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like ridiculous.
It's a glorified embedded episode, essentially.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. My wife does like it a lot, though. She's really enjoyed it, and she's a Bills fan, but she's like seeing the players, like what they do off the field. And I do feel there is that audience of, oh my God, Oliver has, horses. Like, she didn't know that. I mean, diehards know that. But, and then the other thing too, and look, me, I love, the ownership is annoying in terms of them not being transparent. We don't hear from them. We haven't heard from Terry Pagula in like 6 years where he took a question from anyone from the press. And he was all over the first 2 episodes and embedded. And no offense, having rich millionaires toast to the season for champagne just reeks of, like, rich people, like, enough. And is asking them questions, and then you get the Easter egg of Lauren Pagula there, who no one knows what she's doing there. And, he doesn't talk. And again, it's just another reminder. Like, it's one thing, like, I mentioned that, and it got some ratio, whatever you want to call it, on Twitter. And, like, you get the people who are like, oh, leave him alone. He's not a good public speaker. It's like, dude, he sounds fine in these shows when he's talking. And I remember John Regas had a stroke, and he freaking was partially blind, and he still talked after Sabres games. And he was like 120 years old. So I don't want to hear that, and it's just lame. And I if I was a publication or Bill's Bro Beat or whatever, I would be like complaining constantly, like, why is he not available for us to talk to? And I'm sure maybe like 1 or 2 do, while the rest are just like, we can't do that because then Boyko won't let us go to the golf invitational. So
I'm shocked that Buffalo media people haven't really worked their way onto the show. But there was nobody in week 3. Well, you could technically see a portion of Sal Capaccio's face in front of a camera, but that was literally it. But like Josh Reed in episode 2, Josh Reed in episode 2, and then one, like I said, it was quick cameos from Fates and Mookie Hawkins, but that's been it. Look, so 3 episodes in now. I will say I do think the 3rd episode was way better than the first 2. Just because they featured different people and stuff like that. They brought you at least a little bit in the film room, or the coaches meeting stuff a little bit. Brandon Bean's office with Cook. But the 2 things that have really bothered me the most at this point is the 2nd episode where Cook didn't practice and didn't play in the game. That's a story, and they just glossed over that like it was nothing. And it's easy to say it was nothing because he ended up signing him afterwards. I wonder if Hard Knocks had anything to do with kind of making sure that got done. But anyway, they didn't even cover that like it was a meaningful thing, and it was. And then the other thing is Sean McDermott is so intense, and he's talking about, don't tell Sean McDermott preseason games don't mean shit. Put it that way. He was pissed off. But you barely even saw any of it afterwards. After the game, didn't see any of his taking. I would have loved to have seen film room following that loss. You know what I mean? I would have liked to have seen an intense, cranked up version of Sean McDermott, and we didn't. Before I get to these comments.
One last thing, what doesn't help is because they changed the rules from like 4 or 5 years ago when cuts used to happen sporadically. I think that's kind of it's destroyed the drama a little bit because you used to get to know like the crappy players, and then 2 weeks later he gets cut. Where in this case, they're not getting cut until the last episode of the season, and I think that kind of ruins it a little bit. So go ahead.
If he's one thing, he's not consistent. I'm not going to say he's a Josh Allen hater because he'll get mad at me for saying that, but he's more critical of Josh Allen than anybody I know. Let's just put it that way. But he says the Bills could win 8 games with Mr. Trubisky at quarterback. Do you believe that?
No.
I don't either.
No, Trubisky's terrible. He's only the backup quarterback because he's Josh's caddy.
Well, they're in a weak division, though. You are playing the Jets twice, the Dolphins twice, the Patriots twice. You got the Saints. No. Maybe they do win 8 games with Mitch. Cleveland.
No, Mitch is terrible. Mitch
Carolina.
is awful.
No. I know, but it's a weak schedule, bro. First I laughed at it. I just missed that comment. We'll talk about that more next week. We'll
let's not talk about that. I don't want to talk about hypotheticals of Mitch Trubisky. My God, please.
Hold on. Let's see what Ariel Grande just pulled up here. Said Bean said in some interview that they told the Hard Knocks people were not showing players getting released, and they agreed. Yeah, look,
Oh, wow.
it's a different Hard Knocks now. I also heard that Sean McDermott said on the radio, he had the option of having his office open where he would communicate with players, and he declined. He didn't want that on the show, and they're not doing that.
Well,
either.
Whatever. Yeah, it is. Like I said, it's a good love story. I get if something, it's not riveting at all. But
let me ask you a question here, okay?
Sure.
This is going to be the start, and it's got nothing to do with sports, folks. But I do want you to chime in here if you're still with us on the live side, or if you're watching this later on, leave a comment or tweet at me or whatever. I'm starting a one must go segment, all right? I don't know about every episode, certainly every week, and I'm going to see how it goes. And if I like it and it works, I'm going to do this every episode. I'm going to give you 4 things, okay? And you got to choose which one goes. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I'm going to do it on the show, and then tomorrow on Twitter, I'm going to put up a poll, and I'm going to see if the fans agree with either myself or my guest for that day. Kind of get some interaction going with people. And this is going to be covering everything, not just sports. In fact, this isn't sports. So it's called One Must Go, 4 things, and it's HBO. It's not HBO, I'm sorry. It's Best Drama Series, okay? Giving you 4, and you got to get rid of one. One's got to go.
Okay.
All right? Sopranos, Game of Thrones, The Wire, Breaking Bad. One of them got to go. One must go. And I'm going to put a poll up on Twitter the next day as well. These are 4 great shows. One's got to go, though.
I've never watched The Wire.
Ooh. Really?
Never watched it. It's on my list to watch. I've watched the other 3, so obviously I have to get rid of The Wire because I've never watched it.
All right, pretend if that wasn't on it, you're going to say that because you didn't watch it. But of those other 3, Sopranos,
the other
Thrones,
3,
Breaking Bad.
I would. What has to go? I hate to do it because the ending was so freaking terrible, and if the ending was halfway good, it would be the number 1 show of my favorite show of all time, Game of Thrones. So, but Game of Thrones has to go. Yeah, and like I'm sorry, but Bran on the throne and how they handled the last season, just they have better episodes. Like the best episode of Thrones, I think beats the best episodes of Breaking Bad or Sopranos because I just like gory sci-fi but the ending was just that's what screws it up. Like, hey, the John Cena Cody Rhodes match at WrestleMania was fine until freaking Travis, whatever his name is, Scott came down and it ruined the ending. And that's the end. Like, so I have to say that. Sorry.
Okay, that's fair. Now, first of all, you got to The Wire should be on your list. I feel like that is a must watch. Now, it's late 90s, early 2000s HBO, so it's going to feel a little bit dated, but it takes, I'm not going to give you no spoilers either. Just watch it. It takes place in Baltimore, and it's just real. It's about drugs. It's about life. And it's not on my list. It's not the one must go on my list. And these are all tough. I would say Breaking Bad's going to be on mine. I'd probably go with Breaking Bad. And again, none of these are easy decisions. The thing about Breaking Bad for me was it was such a slow burn that you could easily have gotten bored and turned off by it. My wife did, actually, before it even really got cooking. Once it got cooking, man, it cooked. But it was a very slow burn. Kind of like Succession was the entire run of its existence. Just a slow burn. But it was like that with Breaking Bad. But once that shit heated up, it really heated up. I'm kind of looking at the chat here. No, John Sanders, I Love Lucy was not one of the Breaking Bad. I don't know. It seems like kind of a mixed bag, but it seems like Thrones is the one.
It's going to be Thrones. When you pull it tomorrow, it's going to be Thrones. Thrones people are going to get rid of because it's still fresh on everyone's mind, and the ending is still.
I agree.
I don't know what to say. Yeah.
I agree. I'll throw up that poll tomorrow on the Twitter machine. Before we get out of here, real quick, let me try to do this on the fly. Get to some comments that I had stored away. Spin0481 said, "Didn't Benford start his rookie year?"
He did. Yes. He did. So it could happen.
Yeah, because I'm sure that had to do with my comment about Dorian Strong. Yeah. Both 6-round picks. Dorian Strong, Christian Benford looked significantly better as a rookie. He just fit right away. And Dorian Strong's done some things. He's been okay. I'm not saying he doesn't have a future with this team, But I would have leaned before the Max and Trey White injuries. I think he would have been closer to getting cut than he would have been to being a starter. I just think Shaw goes with experience ultimately, whether it's Jackson or whether it's Ingram, one of those guys.
Also, remember, they had better safeties that year. I think that was, you can have a rookie maybe back there that late because those safeties can help, like Poyer did. Hyde was out that year, but Poyer was great, obviously, that year. He was an all-pro. But
Ronald says, you guys think the Bills could run a 3-4 defense a little bit more this year. Do they have the personnel numbers to do that? Thank you kindly again. No, they don't. I don't think they're going to run any. I don't think they're going to run any 4-3.
We'll see what they do with Hoyt. Like, what the hell he's going to do. Like, what positions they're going to throw him around. But
Johnny,
were you surprised, real quick? Were you surprised Hoyt was playing in the Tampa game a little bit? I was kind of surprised a little bit. I was surprised.
Well, he's not going to play after this for 6 weeks. So even if he,
gets
hurt and misses, even if he gets hurt and misses the first 6 weeks, he's not going to miss any time. Sure. Johnny Utah, a couple here. He says, I think DaQuan Jones is getting released, Pat. I would still bet on Dwayne Carter getting traded, but I wouldn't put it this way. I won't be stunned if DaQuan Jones gets cut. That would tell me that they really like what they've seen from Deion Walker and they feel good about him going forward. Johnny also says Carter had multiple tackles for loss in the Bears scrimmage practice, according to Sports Illustrated's Matt Verdame. I really don't think it's about Carter. Well, it's about one of those two. We'll find out here in the next few days. JJ94, CB2 is the most interesting part of this team right now. I have a hard time thinking they go Hardy over Dana or Ingram, but who knows? Assuming Trey isn't ready, of course. It is the most interesting part of this team. It's the scariest part of this team right now. It feels like the one hole in this roster. It feels like they're pretty solid everywhere else on this team. Johnny Utah, Joe from Queens is going to flip out if Chenault is getting targets from Josh Allen.
No, is that the rookie guy? Is that like the second, third rounder?
Former second-round pick. Who, I thought as recently as a week ago, I thought Laviska had a good chance to make this team, but I think that's out the window.
I still want to know, like, I'm trying to remember, like, who we thought the wide receivers were last year. Like, it still feels muddled as of right now. Again, like I'm talking about the guys like 3 through 5. It's muddled again, like it was last year, which is it's kind of annoying. You know, like, is Elijah Moore going to play, or is he gone? Your boy Curtis Samuel, is he going to get cut or traded or get a new toe or whatever the hell's wrong with him? It's just Elijah
Moore and Curtis Samuel might be the two biggest enigmas on this team because I think they're both capable of being very good in this offense, like Emmanuel Sanders type of players for the Bills. But I also conversely think that they're very capable of doing absolutely nothing of even being on the field. So it's definitely one of those mysteries. Roy Collins says Hamler has done nothing in the NFL. I don't think KJ Hamler makes his team, but I do think they bring him back to the practice squad. I think Codrington's going to stay as the kick returner, but KJ Hamler could be a surprise. Steve says Bosa is the biggest key to our defensive line this year. I think if you get prime Joey Bosa, if you get the best of him, I think he elevates this line a lot. But
I just don't know. Like it's been a while since he's been. It's been a while, man. But we'll see what happens. Maybe a different system. All that cliche shit helps.
Walker reminds me of Leon Lett. Leon Lett was a big ass boy, man. Also, Deion Walker. Steve says it's a great feeling to know that Hoyt will be joining the team week 7. He is a monster, and I believe he gets close to 10 sacks regardless of missing 6 games. He won't play enough to do that, but I will say he does bring juice, man. I do think he'll be when he's back, he'll play as much as Epinesa or especially Landon Jackson, the rookie. I think Michael Hoyt's going to have a pretty big role on this football team.
I have to catch up on these rookie defensive linemen. Like, I keep getting them mixed up. Like, it's Walker.
Walker's the 4th rounder. TJ Sanders is the 2nd rounder. Landon Jackson's the tall dude with the bald head, the 6'7" dude. He was the 3rd round pick out of Arkansas.
And who I'm gonna pretend I give a shit about camp and preseason. Who has been the best of those 3?
Deion Walker.
And you said he's the second
He's
rounder?
He was the fourth round pick.
The fourth. Okay.
The big guy, the huge mountain of mass.
Okay.
He's got a lot of pass rushing juice. He's way quicker than he looks, man.
Okay.
TJ Sanders has been good, too. Just not as splashy as Deion. And Landon Jackson's just been really quiet this summer. I would expect if the Bills stay healthy, I think you're going to see a lot of inactive game days for Landon Jackson as a rookie. Johnny says, I think Dorian Strong is starting opposite night. I already said I do not agree with that. Steve,
Levi Wallace is coming back, baby. He's coming back.
Steve says, I truly believe with Keon's work ethic and brutal honesty that he will develop into being a number one. I don't know about that, but I also don't know that he needs to be a number one. He just needs to be consistent, and when Josh goes to him, he needs to be dependable and make plays. Ariano said, the question isn't whether Shavers makes it as wide receiver 5 or sneaks on due to special teams versatility. Real question is, does he or Keon end up second in production behind Shakir? Well, I hope it's not Tyrell Shavers second in production on this team. I'd like to see Josh Palmer have a bigger role than Tyrell Shavers, not to mention Keon. So, I'm losing my voice, by the way. We're just about done here. Ronald said, you guys think the Bill... Oh, we already got to that one. My bad.
Yeah.
So, last one here. Ron, I love you guys together on a podcast. I have a great question. Should the Bills make history and trade Brandon Beane for some draft picks or another GM? Your thoughts. Thank you. Brandon Beane's not getting... Can you even trade a GM? Does that ever happen?
That's never
I know a head
happened.
coach has.
No, no, hasn't happened. I think Bruce Allen went with John Gruden in Tampa. I think when Gruden got traded to Tampa. So,
all right, man. Let's put a bow on this. You don't got anything else left, do you?
No, I'm excited about the Bills season. I think they're going to do good this year. I'm glad we're out of shitty August takes, and yeah, I'm excited. Let's do it.
And again, Joe will be next week. Joe, we'll be doing a Sunday night show. However, it's not going to be live. We're actually recording it. It's Labor Day weekend, holiday weekend, a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to record that probably Friday night, and we'll drop it on the video Sunday night. Then, of course, week 1, Joe's going to be at the game. He's going to be at the stadium. So I'll have someone else on. And then after that, we'll be on live 9 p.m. all season long after 1 and 4 o'clock games. Primetime games will be on live immediately after the game. I think that's it. I think that's all I got for now. I just want to make sure, too, people, thank you for watching. I mean, we're all 950 people tune in on our platforms tonight, so I appreciate that late on a Sunday.
I got a guy in the comments who says I'm terrible, come on, man. DJ Finis, put that up there, Pat, if you still got power. What the heck? Yeah, I don't know half our guys. Look, I don't know the rookies. What do you want from me? I don't get paid. Pat doesn't pay me to know these rookies. Anyways, I digress.
Joe is terrible. How? Maybe he's saying Joe is terrible, but how? Maybe he's disagreeing.
No, the next line, he says, you don't know who our guys are. Off. Oh. I know he can't spell. He must be drunk. Sorry, DJ Finish, whatever the heck your name is. My bad, dude. I'll know the practice squad by next week, I promise.
Yeah.
Just
all
for
right,
you,
guys. That's going to do it. Thank you again for everybody who's watched live. Appreciate you guys very much. To be out on podcast form, make sure you listen sometime Monday. Joe DiBiase from WGR is going to join me. He'll be on the show tomorrow. Talk to you guys then.